guys, let's say you are a painter and you are going to paint this rectangular wall. You need to know how much paint you would use to paint that wall. And hopefully you're a better painter than I am and you would actually cover the entire area of the wall. But you would need to know the area inside that rectangle in order to know how much paint you need. So let's look here. We would know this side is 3 3/4 feet long, and this width over here is 2.5 feet long. Now, from our work with the whole number area, we know that we would multiply the length here by the width here. Same thing is true if it's a mixed number. So let's do that here. Let's set up our equation that matches the context. 3 3/4 times 2.5. That'll equal up to the area of the entire rectangle that you need to paint. Okay, so we just started off a new slide so we can show all of our work here. We don't know an algorithm to multiply a mixed number times a mixed number, but we do know an algorithm to multiply a fraction times a fraction. So you guys in my class will remember that it's A over B times C over D equals, we just multiply the numerators, A times C to get the numerator of our product, and multiply the denominators, B times D, to get the denominator of our product. Okay, so let's apply that to the mixed numbers that we're working with. First thing we're going to have to do is take this 3 3/4 and convert it into an equivalent improper fraction over here. So if you guys remember, the way to do that, print some notes in red, hopefully this will work. We multiply the denominator times the whole. So 4 times 3 is 12, and then we add on these extra 3 here. So 12 plus that 3 winds up equaling 15/4. So now we have an improper fraction here that we can use instead of this mixed number factor here. Oops. Sorry, we had one. There we go. And now we have it again. Yay. Okay, we're going to do the same process for 2.5. So go ahead and pause the video and try to do that on your own on a piece of paper. Okay, let's see what it looks like if you were able to successfully do that. So we're going to convert this factor again. We're going to convert this factor into an improper fraction, so then we can use this algorithm up here to multiply it. There it is again. All right. So if you did this appropriately, you would do the denominator times that whole number. 2 times 2 is 4. And then add on that extra one right there. 4 plus 1 is 5. And that's all over 2. So that gives you 5/2. So now we've got an improper fraction that we can use instead of this mixed number factor. Okay, now we have 2 new factors that we're going to multiply. We're going to multiply 15/4 by 5/2. And now we know we can just use this regular old fraction by fraction multiplication algorithm, but apply it to these ones. Okay, let me get rid of that. Now we remember we're going to multiply the denominator times the denominator. So 4 times 2 gives you 8 for the denominator of your product. And the numerator times the numerator, so 15 times 5 gives you 75 for the numerator of your product. Now if you can't do 15 times 5 in your head, do some side work somewhere. But now, let's look at the answer we have here. We've got an improper fraction as our product right now. Now, if we think back to the context, that's not going to make much sense to say that you would need 75/8 square feet worth of paint in order to cover that rectangular wall. So we're going to take this improper fraction and we will convert it into a mixed number. So we'll start that on a new slide because that involves some division. Okay, now we're ready to convert this improper fraction into a mixed number. Now it's got to be equivalent or else you're going to have the wrong area. So we remember how to do that. We take 75, the numerator, and we divide it by the denominator. Now, if you don't know how to do 75 divided by 8 in your head, of course, do some side work off the side. I'll do just a quick little algorithm here that you guys might remember. I want to know how many 8s go into 75. Oops. Still want to know how many 8s there are in 75. Well, I know 9 8s is 72, so if we subtract that, we've got a remainder of 3. Now that remainder turns into the numerator of a fraction, and the divisor turns into the denominator of that fraction. Now let's come back over here. 75 eighths equals 75 divided by 8, and then from doing that division, we figured out that 75 divided by 8 equals 9 3/8. Now that's good because that makes a whole lot more sense as the answer to our contest. So the area of wall is 9 3/8 square feet. Which makes a heck of a lot more sense than 75 eighths of a square foot. So we converted that improper fraction into its equivalent mixed number, and then we use that when we answer the question in the actual context.